Hey everybody, welcome to Texas News Studio. I'm your host, Mark Myers. I want to get you caught up on the latest news. A lot going on. It's been kind of quiet for a while, and now it comes back up again. So we want to get you caught up on the headlines, and we're going to bring you up our YouTube audience and all of our other platforms today. So good to see you wherever you may be. And there's Desert, there's Jan in here over on YouTube. Glad to see you guys. And then everybody over on Rumble as well, and then over on Twitch. So good to see you. Just want to get you caught up on the news. Most of you know what was going on with South Korea by now, but if not, I'm going to recap today's news and some other headlines as well. But I'm just checking in with everybody as they're coming in tonight. So again, thanks for everybody for watching us tonight. Hey, Deep South, doing better. Thank you guys, doing much better now. Also, make sure on the Rumble or whatever platform you're on, make sure you're always looking at the live button. Sometimes if you don't see the live, you're going to like, where is he? What's going on? I don't see anything. So just make sure you're clicking on the live or refresh your screen so you can see what's going on, because I've been there before. It's like, that's an old video. No, it's not. It's live, because we always, on our platform, we're always doing everything live. Unless you're just watching a repeat on YouTube later on. But when we come on YouTube in the evening, it's live. We're always streaming live on Rumble. We're always streaming live on Twitch. So it really should be live. That's what I'm trying to say. Hey, but again, glad you're all with us tonight. Let me get you caught up on the news tonight. And there's everybody in here. So first off, as you all know, that the South Korean president, after the martial law that went into effect earlier today, that was making everybody scramble, we caught a lot of people off guard. Governments were caught off guard today. But again, the South Korean president, after all that, did lift martial law in a TV address to the nation. And I got several different reports here. The first one was coming off of Zero Hedge. This was earlier today again, but President Yoon Suk Yeol announced on local television that he would lift martial law after hours of being rejected by South Korea's National Assembly. It says this marks the largest flare-up in political turmoil in South Korea since full-scale martial law was declared actually back in the spring of 1980. In prediction markets, though, the poly market, Yoon out as president of South Korea in 2024 peaked as high as 74% by late afternoon. Now, after the South Korean parliament rejected the short-lived martial law declared by the president, protests erupted in the streets of Seoul outside government buildings. And going on with arrest the president, protests shouted in front of the National Assembly. South Korean parliament voted to defy Yoon's declaration of martial law. So it didn't last that long, a little over 2 hours. But again, the shortest emergency martial law in history appears to be over, and is over now. South Korean lawmakers vote on martial law at the time. They passed the request of martial law lift. South Korea Parliament votes to block President's martial law declaration. So that was like 192, I believe, 0 on that. South Korea's Yoon says government earlier has been paralyzed because of opposition party conducts. Says at the time he was saying that he would rebuild free and democratic country. Now, he was saying, just to give you a little bit of context, because this is important here, but he was saying that the announcement during the televised briefing vowed to eradicate pro-North Korean forces and protect the constitutional democratic order. Now, it wasn't immediately clear how the steps would affect the country's governance and democracy. Now, he did have approval ratings that have dipped in recent months. He struggled to push his agenda against an opposition-controlled parliament since 2022. And it's also been locked in an impasse with the liberal opposition's Democratic Party over next year's budget. Now, he's also been dismissing calls for independent investigation into scandals involving his wife and top officials, drawing quick, strong rebukes from his political rivals. And again, his approval rating is about 12% right now. Somewhat approved, 14%. Somewhat disapproved, 9%. Disapproved, 62%. That was conducted in November. All right, let me continue on here. The next one in here, guys, and we're just going over the same reports of the day to get you kind of an overview of what's been going on. This is next coming from Metro.uk. Again, South Korean president urged to resign after martial law chaos. Barricades by politicians and clashes with police. They've been calling for the impeachment of the president. Now, again, earlier today, martial law was enacted in South Korea for just 6 hours, prompting widespread outrage after the president cited threats from North Korea. President Yoon Suk-yeol issued the order in a television address vowing to eliminate anti-state forces as he suspended parliament, banned political gatherings, and ordered the end of a long-running doctors' strike. But just hours after doing so, the National Assembly unanimously voted to lift martial law. And again, the president has since announced the martial law is over, with his cabinet officially ending it. Goes on to say, I've accepted the decision made by the National Assembly to dissolve and lift the martial law, he told the nation. Says the Constitution says if the Parliament votes to end martial law in a majority vote, which they have, the President must follow suit. But President Yeol accused opposition parties for allegedly taking hostage of Parliament to throw the country into a crisis and for sympathizing with North Korea. But this order threw the country into chaos, many defying his words and taking to the streets to protest. Now, he didn't cite any specific threat from nuclear-armed North Korea, instead focusing on his domestic political opponents. So that's just kind of the update here. We've had these reports, though, about him and his concerns about what's been infiltrated from North Korea and other factions. So that's another angle on that. That's, again, coming from Metro UK. AP's reporting pretty much the same thing. South Korea lifts president's martial law decree after lawmakers reject military rule. Again, the president of South Korea early Wednesday lifted the martial law he imposed on the country hours earlier, bending to political pressure after a tense night in which troops surrounded parliament and lawmakers voted to reject military rule. They're saying that he appeared to be likely to be impeached over his inactions. Police and military personnel were seen leaving the grounds of Parliament following the bipartisan vote to overrule the president, and the declaration was formally lifted around 4:30 a.m. during a cabinet meeting. So again, they're saying the martial law was in effect for about 6 hours. The leader of the Democratic Party, Wu, applauded how troops quickly left the assembly after the vote. Says under South Korea's constitution, the president can declare martial law during wartime, warlike situations, or other comparable national emergency states that require the use of military force to maintain peace and order. It says it was questionable whether South Korea is currently in such a state. It says when martial law is declared, special measures can be employed to restrict freedom of press, freedom of assembly, and other rights, as well as the power of courts. Again, in all, about 190 lawmakers supported the lifting of martial law. So it was 190, from what I understand, to 0 on that, okay? Ron is reporting right now South Korea's main opposition party is going to initiate impeachment unless the president resigns. That's just breaking now. Hey, Jacob, good to see you. So that's developing right now, guys. South Korea's main opposition party to initiate impeachment unless the president resigns. Hey, Richard, good to see you over on YouTube, guys. So that was the big news of the day. You know, these cycles, as we all know, they ebb and flow. Some days it's just kind of really quiet, not much is going on. And, you know, like yesterday, I was like, I'm just not seeing a lot. I needed to come on and report. And then boom, less than 24 hours later, everything's changing. So we just never know with these cycles. And who would see this, right? Who would see something coming out of South Korea and what was going on with the president of all things? I mean, you don't see stuff like that. So you just never would know which way the world's going to go. And that's why we got to keep you updated no matter what. So just stay with TNS. Who knows what will happen tomorrow? So let me go on the next report in here. I'm going to go into some other news. So that was the deal with South Korea, if you didn't know. That didn't really last that long. It was making a lot of headway this morning. If you're watching our live feed this morning over on Rumble, on Twitch, that was going on, but it's pretty well, except for the impeachment potential now, it's pretty well ended. Let me go on just real quick to get you caught up on some of the other news. Again, DNC officials reveal Obama and Pelosi did not want Kamala Harris. One of the members of the Democratic National Committee Finance Committee revealed Sunday that former President Barack Obama and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi actually opposed Vice President Kamala Harris becoming the 2024 presidential nominee. It says, referencing friends from Obama's circle and her personal friendship with Pelosi, Lee told News Nation that both top Democrats would have rather held a primary than coronate Harris to fill Biden's sudden vacancy atop the ticket. Says, quote, I know they didn't, Lee said when asked about Obama and Pelosi. Quote, I have a lot of friends in Obama's world, and actually I'm friends with Speaker Pelosi, and I spoke with her before, and actually went on air to encourage President Biden to step aside. So they basically were saying that was not who they wanted, which is not really a surprise. We've been hearing those reports for a long time. But again, more reports coming in to verify what we were thinking all along. But again, Obama and Pelosi did not want Kamala Harris. Let's go on. This is coming over from Breitbart here. Biden White House conspired for months to mislead public about Hunter's pardon. And this is coming from two left-wing sources. The Biden White House conspired for months to mislead the public about Hunter Biden's pardon. It says, for years, the regime media has done everything in its malevolent power to cover up and protect Joe and Hunter Biden. It says the far-left news, New York Times and NBC News are still in cover-up mode. But buried in their lengthy reports about Hunter Biden's blanket 11-year pardon for any and all federal crimes is a bombshell of truth that proves we were lied to the entire time. Again, coming from Breitbart. Says the Times story is laughably headline. How Biden changed his mind on pardoning Hunter. Time to end all this. Says here's the sub headline. The threat of retribution focused Trump administration and his son's looming sentencing prompted the president to abandon a promise not to get involved in Hunter Biden's legal problems. Says those headlines specifically designed to mislead the public into believing that when Joe Biden and his surrogates told us that under no circumstances would Hunter receive a pardon, he was not lying. He just changed his mind. Says in the very same story, the Times' very own reporting proves both of those headlines a lie. Beneath 10 paragraphs lies this truth. Says Mr. Biden had been privately grappling with the decision to pardon his son since shortly after Hunter Biden was convicted on federal gun charges in June, according to several people familiar with his thinking, despite publicly vowing that he would not interfere with a judicial system that had found his son guilty. Says there it is. There was no change of mind. A change of mind is deciding one thing and then deciding on something else. Biden repeatedly told the American people he made the decision not to pardon Hunter. Per the Times, that was a lie. Biden had not decided. He was still deciding, still grappling with the decision, even as he told the American people there was no circumstance in which he would issue a pardon. But again, it goes on in the article, it gets worse. According to no less than NBC News, it says, and hidden beneath a dozen paragraphs naturally, we were informed of the White House conspiracy to lie to the American people. The president had discussed pardoning his son with some of his closest aides, at least since Hunter Biden's conviction in June, said two people with direct knowledge of the discussions about the matter. They said it was decided at the time that he would publicly say he would not pardon his son, even though doing so remained on the table. And boom, the White House denies this report. The same White House that told us inflation was transitory, the border was secure, the Afghanistan pullout was executed well, violent crime was down, no one's coming after your gas stoves, Joe Biden is sharp as attack and will not be pushed out of his re-election race. So again, that's coming from Breitbart News. Again, no surprise. The next one in here. This is just talking about wokeness and beyond. I only want to show you this over at Breitbart here about the Jaguar. You've heard about the advertising and the insanity behind that. Where is it? Let me pull it up here. Hang on. Jaguar's boss claims fearless creativity behind new EV. Jaguar's design boss has dismissed critics laughing at his new creation, declaring Monday the car brand has shown fearless creativity in delivering an electric vehicle on the back of the divisive marketing campaign. This is Jerry McGovern, who's in charge of design for Jaguar's parent company, told a launch event on Monday in Miami. Some may love it now, some may love it later, and some may never love it. That's what fearless creativity does. Now, this is the new concept car called the Type 00 to a mixed reaction. It says with an advertising campaign that failed to showcase even one single vehicle from the legendary British car company. Says the Guardian reports Jaguar chose the U.S. city, that's Miami, for the launch event during its Art Week as a symbol of its shift away from the premium market in which its cars struggled to compete against Germany's BMW and Mercedes-Benz toward a more international moneyed elite. It says this production car is expected to cost more than $126,000 when it's revealed, nearly double the average price of its previous range. And you'll be happy to know the concept model was revealed in two colors, Miami pink and London blue. It says a departure from Jaguar's traditional racing green. Look at that. I know you're excited. Thought I'd share that with y'all. Okay. Or maybe not. Four Dog, yeah, with no alien evasion. You know, that was coming from Cliff High, which has done the web bot from really the late 90s, from what I understand. Some of the predictions have been somewhat accurate. There's actually a little bit more of a time frame because it technically will go to, I think, about December the 5th. So maybe we'll have something to report tomorrow, the next day, okay? So I don't have anything to report today. No alien invasion yet. A lot of UFOs and UAPs have been seen across the world, even here in Texas, but nothing's been confronted. No shoot downs with our fighter jets yet, but you never know. Well, something could happen tomorrow. We'll let you know. Let me continue on, though. Hang on one second here. Let's see this one. I'm looking for the next report coming in, and here it is. This is coming from Right Scoop. I thought I'd share this with you. Breaking, Mayor Adams just dared people to cancel him over working with Trump border czar to deport criminal illegals. That's coming from Right Scoop. The New York City Mayor Adams held a press conference and told people that he would be cooperating with President-elect Trump's border czar to deport illegals out of New York City who've committed crimes. Says he went on even further and dared people to try and cancel him for doing this. Because, as he put it, this is not a new position in the Democratic Party, pointing to both Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama for saying criminal illegals must be deported right away. Goes on to say, this is pretty ballsy in a city that considers itself a sanctuary city. For all of his faults, Adams is proving that he's willing to put his city first when it comes to public safety and get these criminals, illegals deported. So, good for him for doing that again. And that's coming for all of his faults. And again, for Governor Greg Abbott, who made these sanctuary cities feel the actual pain of their irresponsible policies. So really, Abbott here have been putting the heat on by bringing the folks up there. All right, let me go on. The next report, guys. This was breaking tonight, guys, so I want to make you aware of this because this is what they're trying to do now with the deep state and others. Biden is attempting to make permanent the deep state before he leaves office by burdening the government with untenable contracts so that Trump and Doge cannot succeed. They're working on a work-from-home deal, and I was trying to pull it up from Bloomberg. It looks like I got a paywall, so I really couldn't read the entire report. But again, it looks like they're trying to get some work-from-home policies so the federal staffers will stay in position. Let's see if we can pull it up. Thousands of federal employees land work-from-home deal ahead of Trump. It says Social Security employees union secures hybrid work deal till 2029. So from what I can tell, it looks like they're going to be able to escape some of this by just working from home. I wish I could read the entire report. Maybe we'll find another article that would give us the entire report, but that just broke a little bit earlier. But we'll probably have another report coming up soon on that. Let me continue on, though. Hey, John, good to see you tonight. Let me talking about, and John's talking about that over on YouTube tonight. Let me show you this, because the UFO stuff is it's out there, guys. There's been a lot lately. For whatever whatever you want to believe about it or not, I mean, it's just really getting out there. Mystery car-sized drones have been reported over New Jersey, prompting FBI investigation. This is coming from Zero Hedge. It says several weeks of mysterious drone swarms over the skies of New Jersey County near the military research and manufacturing facility have sparked concerns among residents and prompted an FBI investigation. Goes on to say it's kind of unsettling. Mike Walsh, a Morris County resident who spotted the drones on numerous occasions, told local media outlet Pix 11. Says it's a bird, it's a plane, it's a mystery that's taken over one New Jersey county. Again, mysterious drone sightings continues in Morris County. Said that some of the drones are very big, probably the size of a car. Hundreds of car-sized drones have been flying over New Jersey every night for 2 weeks straight, and I'm only just now hearing about it. Says again, since November the 18th, Walsh and many other residents have spotted these drones in the night sky. Says they kind of go slow. They come towards you. They change direction a little. They're going different ways. And this was back on also, it says we first detailed the story on November the 19th in a note titled Spy Drones, Unusual Activity Reported Over Morris County, New Jersey, near military research facility. It says a potential national security threat piqued our interest, considering multiple reports that the mysterious drones were observed near the arsenal here. Pix 11 News said the FBI's Newark field office has joined the investigation with other law enforcement agencies to determine who's flying these drones. Again, Pix 11 News contacted the FAA, which said it received reports of activity near Morris County. Again, the FAA has had 2 temporary flight restrictions prohibiting drone flights and over the Trump National Golf Club near Bedminster. Says, given the close proximity to the highly controlled airspace around NYC, we suspect that if these drones actually pose national security threats, stealth fighter jets armed with sidewinders would have neutralized the threats almost immediately. We'll see. That's one of many reports. We've had them down in Texas, just northeast of my area, with airline pilots reporting something up in the sky, even maybe up in outer space. So, I mean, there's just a lot going on. And again, we've noticed over the years when you have the threat of war, nuclear war, the threats of nuclear weapons, it seems like the UFO stuff really starts coming out of the woodwork, so to speak. So, and that's kind of the environment we're in right now. The war stuff, rumors of war, threat of nuclear weapons. It just seems like it starts coming up from somewhere. Let me continue on, though. Oh, I agree, John. Total deception coming on, guys. Let me go on with this. The next report that I've got, just to let you know, here we go. Before Trump gets in office, so again, we're looking at a massive surge of military equipment headed to Ukraine before Trump takes office. Coming from the Gateway Pundit, it's been widely reported. It's just 47 days until the inauguration. But on Monday, when asked what the Biden administration is telling Ukrainian counterparts about what will happen once Biden leaves office, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan told ABC News this week, it says they're going to do everything in their power for the next 50 days to get Ukraine all the tools we possibly can to strengthen their position on the battlefield so they'll be stronger at the negotiating table. Look at this. President Biden directed me to oversee a massive surge in military equipment that we are delivering to Ukraine, so we have spent every dollar that Congress has appropriated to us by the time that President Biden leaves office. So that's what they're saying, first and foremost, what they're focused on. It says the Biden administration is frantically scrambling to ensure that the U.S. sends as much money and equipment as possible to Ukraine before the transition takes place on January the 20th, 2025. So again, on that, they're going to be supplying U.S.-supplied ATACMS on targets inside Russian borders for the first time since the war began in February 2022. It's a dangerous escalation by a lame duck president whose party failed to win re-election just 2 weeks earlier. So again, we're looking at that going on. The next one in here, we've also been getting reports, this is coming from the Key Post, foreign troops may be deployed to Ukraine to monitor potential ceasefire. It says Radio Liberty revealed that discussions are underway about deploying French and British troops to monitor a potential demarcation line as one possible scenario. Says in Paris and London, policymakers are preparing different scenarios for future political involvement in the ongoing war in Ukraine and ways to support Kyiv in case the U.S. leadership fully reshapes its foreign policy and reduces aid to Kyiv. Again, Radio Liberty reveals discussions are underway about deploying French and British troops to monitor the demarcation line as one possible scenario. Says these talks are being reportedly taking place at an individual level in European capitals, not at the NATO level. But again, we've been getting these reports about that and this demarcation line, so we're going to watch that very, very closely. And it looks like I've frozen up here. Hang on one second. All right, let's see if we can't. All right, hang on guys. I'm going to have to end this because my screen froze. It looks like I'm just freezing up all over the place here. Hang on. All right, maybe we're back. Maybe we're not. But give me a second here. Alrighty guys, so give me 1 second because computers crash. But I think we're back. And we are back. There we go. Sorry about that. So anyway, got that. And one other report that I've got, again, this is coming from Newsweek. It says Putin ally predicts nuclear radiation zone could end war in Ukraine. It says an ally of Vladimir Putin said that if Russia were to fire nuclear weapons on Ukraine, it would create a radiation zone that would end the conflict, according to the Financial Times. This is a Russian tycoon spoke to the news outlet that about how the world is on the brink of nuclear war. Says, speaking of a scenario in which Russia fired a tactical nuclear weapon, said there will be a radiation zone nobody would ever go into in our lifetime, and the war will be over. Says Newsweek reached out to the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation for comment via email. So it's kind of where we're at. That's another report that we've got. Let me continue for a second and look at any other developments going on this evening here. Again, recapping the big story of today, just to let you know, the South Korea's opposition is announcing plans to impeach Yoon. South Korea's Democratic Workers' Party announced plans to impeach Yoon Suk-yeol, the second president to impose martial law unless he resigns, per YTN. News signals escalating domestic political tensions as Biden's term nears its end, with critics arguing the impeachment threat exposes deep divisions over Yoon's handling of domestic policies and foreign alliances. That's coming from RT News. Tucker Carlson's reporting from Moscow right now. Tucker from Moscow, we're in a hot war with Russia, and nobody's talking. Says, fresh from Moscow, Tucker Carlson dropped a bombshell claim. The U.S. military recently killed Russian soldiers on Russian soil, yet most Americans don't know we're essentially at war. He says there is zero communication between Washington and Moscow, first time that's happened in decades. Says claims that the U.S. Embassy blocked his Zelensky interview attempts, but just wrapped a chat with Russia's Foreign Minister Lavrov about whether Trump's return might end the conflict. Says, meanwhile, Tucker says that we're closer to nuclear war than during the Cuban Missile Crisis. It's coming from Tucker Carlson Network, TC Network. Just broke a few moments ago as well. I want to make you aware of that. Alrighty, so those are some of the developments that I've got tonight. I'm going to do the usual weather report. We'll cover a little bit of everything here at TNS. So let's get you caught up on the weather real quick. And here we go. Should be up here in a second. All right, hang on, guys. Let's get to that. All right, it's really been pretty chilly, especially across the eastern half of the country. It's 55 here in Dallas, which has not been as bad as some parts of the nation. 79 over in Phoenix, so we're desert, not so bad. 57 out in LA, 39 up in Seattle. But the real chilly air, if you will, is across the northern and northeastern parts of the country right now. So from the Dakotas through Minnesota, in the teens up through way across International Falls, but even through Iowa in the 20s right now. St. Louis is a chilly 34, Chicago is 25, up in the northeastern United States, Boston is 34, Up in Caribou, Maine, 18 degrees, so pretty chilly to cold across the Northeast right now. Most of these places are at near or below freezing. Even across Virginia, the Carolinas, incredibly chilly air across this part of the world right now. Atlanta is 36. Look at Florida. Normally we would be talking about Florida being warm. 48 degrees, and over in Jacksonville, Miami, 64 degrees with a dew point of 34. Wow, that's there's just no warm air at all, even across Florida, even down in Key West, 64 degrees. Your dew point's 46. So this is some cool air, even down into Cuba. Got a north wind, so that front made good progress way off to the south. And across Texas, generally not as bad as other parts of the country, with generally 40s and 50s, but not really warm air. Again, it looks like Phoenix is going to be the warmer spots. Southern Arizona and out toward maybe Palm Springs and down toward Yuma will be the warmer spots of the country at the moment. And if you want to go even further north, you're looking at or below zero across the Canadian provinces. Single digits to below zero, to well below zero, 17 below, 22 below, just some really, really chilly air across the nation. Other than that, you probably are going to need to go off to maybe Miami, I'm sorry, well, not even Miami, but Honolulu or Hawaii for some warmer air. So that's kind of the way it's looking at the moment from what we can tell here. And it's going to be like that. It'll slowly moderate over the next few days, but certainly a little bit on the chilly side. All right, let me get you caught back over here. All right. Well, guys, glad you're all with us tonight on all of our platforms. Just want to get you kind of a quick update what's going on. Also, for those of you that are joining us tonight, I just want to make you aware of the fact that everything's running again on Twitch, and everything runs well on Rumble. Everything runs well, period. So we've got all of our platforms running seamlessly now. Everything's back. I got the ad revenue back over on Twitch. Subscriptions are back over on Twitch. If you want to help us out, or maybe you don't, but it's available no matter what. So people have said, hey, put it back up, and we'll help you out that way. We got the Rumble rants. So whatever you want to do to support the channel going forward is going to work, is what I want to say. So your support, as you know, is for viewers that support independent media. Your help keeps TNS on the air, and hopefully will for many years to come. So that's what I got to tell you about that. And I'm done. That's a report that I've got tonight. Unless anybody else has anything else to say, let me check in with y'all tonight. There's Jan in here. There's Desert. Hey, Desert, thanks for mentioning the newsletter as well. So, guys, we're going to work on the rants goal, everything to keep the channel going forward, guys. And I do the manual updates on the rants. So if you do donate on Rumble Rants, I got to press a button. It won't automatically update, just to let you know. I think you know that by now. But anyway, there we go. And your support keeps us going. But glad you're with us tonight, guys. Yeah, check us on the replay, guys. I did the update. What's going on again with South Korea, and we're watching. And you never know what's going to pop off next. The way this world is going now, you just don't know. Stay with TNS. We will keep you updated one way or the other. Remember, we always stream over on Rumble and Twitch 24/7. We just don't update it 24. We can't run it streaming like we used to on YouTube. I wish I could. But believe me, once I put us up and we do the music and run the old screen, we'll go down. So I can't do it. Otherwise I would. It's a shame because we all used to have a lot of fun and do that, and it just doesn't work that way anymore. So I do the best that I can with the tools that we got. That's why at least we do have Rumble And we got Twitch up. Rumble has really grown too. Rumble is at over 5,570 followers. That's fantastic. So we got a lot of followers that's continuing to grow on there. So good to see y'all, guys. I'll be back with another report on YouTube tomorrow night. Thanks for watching. Stay with TNS on the other platforms, and I'll be back with the other platforms in just a moment. Stay with TNS. We'll see you soon.